The systolic blood pressure of adults in the United States of America is nearly normally distributed with a mean of 119 and a standard deviation of 17. Someone qualifies as having stage 2 high blood pressure if their systolic blood pressure is 160 or higher. For part A, around what percentage of adults in the USA have stage 2 high blood pressure? Give your answer rounded to 2 decimal places. All right, so let's just look real quick at what is going on here. We have, of course, a nearly normally distributed, so we're dealing with our normal curve, okay? And we know our mean is here in the center, is 119, okay? And we want to know the percentage of adults that have stage 2 high blood pressure, which happens if you have 160 or higher. So we're looking over here, okay, 160 or higher. So we're looking for this region here on the right, okay? So what we're going to do is find the z-score for 160. So z equals, we take 160 and then we do minus the mean, which is 119, and then divide by the standard deviation of 17. So we type that in to our calculator. We've got 160 minus 119, and then divide that by 17. And we're always going to round our z-scores to 2 decimal places, so that's 2.41. Okay, now that we have that, we go to our standard normal distribution table, and we go to 2.41. So all the way down here to the positives, 2.4 is in the spot, and then 2.41 is right there. So 0.9920, and that's the area to the left of the 160. All right, so let me go and get rid of that peak there. So this region on the left is the 0.9920. We, of course, are looking for the region on the right, and so we're going to find that by doing 1 minus what we got on the left, 0.9920. Okay, and that is 0.007, 0.008. And of course we want to write that as a percentage, and that's going to be just 0.8%. For part B, if you sampled 2,000 people, how many would you expect to have blood pressure greater than 160? Well, we know the percentage of adults that have stage 2 high blood pressure, and so we're just going to take that proportion and multiply it by the 2,000. So we take our 2,000 people and we multiply by our proportion, 0.008. Okay, and we type that into our calculator, 2,000 times 0.008, and we get 16. So we would expect 16 people to have a blood pressure greater than 160. Okay, for part C, stage 1 high blood pressure is specified as systolic blood pressure between 140 and 160. And we'd like to know what percentage of adults in the US qualify for stage 1. Now we are looking at between 2 values, and so this is where we find the z-score of each of them, find the corresponding values in the table, and then subtract those values. So we find our z-score for 140. Take 140 minus the mean, which is 119, divided by the standard deviation of 17. So plug that into our calculator. 140 minus 119 over 17. And round, of course, to the nearest hundredth for z-score. So that's going to be 1.24. 1.24. And then we do the z-score for 160, the upper end. So 160 minus 119 over 17. Plug that into our calculator. 160 minus 119 over 17. And again, round that to the nearest hundredth, 2 decimal places, so 2.41. Okay, now we go to our table and we find the corresponding values for these. So for 1.24, we've got, this for O is for 1.2, and we go over to 1.24, which is right there. So 0.8925. And then for 2.41, we've got that. And so we go into that there, and we get 0.9920. 0.9920. All right. Now we take these two values and we subtract those. So 0.9920 minus 0.8925. Okay, so 0.9920 minus 0.8925. And we get 0.0995. 995. And of course we want to write this as a percentage, and so this is 9.95%. All right, and then finally for part D, your doctor tells you you are in the 30th percentile for blood pressure among US adults. What is your systolic blood pressure? So this is going backwards from what we've been doing. So we actually know the percentile. 30th percentile, that means if I'm looking at this table here, okay, 30th percentile means somewhere where to the left is the 30%, or 0.3, okay? And we don't know what this value is, so that z-score we're gonna find. We're gonna go to the table, and we actually now are looking at the values inside the body of the table. So we're looking for something close to 0.3. So I'm going to scroll down, and I see that right around here, okay, between these two numbers, okay, that's where 0.3 is between those two numbers. Okay, so that would be a z-score between negative 0.52 and negative 0.53. So I'm just going to pick the number that's right in between them, and that is negative 0.525. Okay. Now this value, this is equal to x minus the mean, which is 119, over the standard deviation, which is 17. And so now I can solve for x, and that would be my weight. And so I multiply both sides by 17. So negative 0.525 times 17 equals x minus 119. And then add 119 to both sides. So 119 minus 0.525 times 17 equals x. And now I'm ready to plug that into my calculator. All right, so we have 119 minus 0.525 times 17. All right, and I get 110.075. 110.075. Okay, and that would be my systolic blood pressure as the 30th percentile.